Hi, welcome back to La Belle Vie. I wanted to provide some quick Rust updates. So first, last week, the prosecution withdrew that alternative enhanced firearms involuntary manslaughter charge. So if you remember, that was the charge that had the serious potential jail time of up to 5 years. And in my law and crime update 2 weeks ago, I mentioned this and I said, the allegation is that this statute that enhanced this 5-year term was enacted post the actual shooting date. And my comment then was, if that's true, that violates the US Constitution's ex post facto clause. You cannot charge somebody criminally for something when that statute was not enacted at the time of the action. So of course, the prosecution should have withdrawn that charge. And frankly, I'm a bit shocked that that turned out to be true. The prosecution has the requirement to bring charges that are appropriate. So that was just a little strange to me, unless there was some thinking that it wasn't a new law. But I don't know, it seemed odd to me that they would do that. And then frankly, I think it also makes the prosecution's, side of their argument, at least on the public relations side, weaker, in my opinion. Alec also filed a not guilty plea to the remaining involuntary manslaughter charge, which covers a prison sentence of up to 18 months. You'll also remember that there is a motion that Alec Baldwin's team filed to remove the special prosecutor. That is still pending. That will be very interesting because if you recall, the reason that the DA got a special prosecutor was that and additional monies to prosecute this case was because they said that their workload for their regular caseload was too much and therefore they needed a special prosecutor. So we'll see. As far as timing goes, now that Alec Baldwin has filed his plea of not guilty, the state has 60 days upon which to bring a pretrial conference where they basically have like a mini trial where they show enough evidence to the court to prove that the case should go further into an actual trial. So that needs to be done within 60 days. So we'll stay tuned. I'll keep everyone updated. Relatedly, the other update for Rust is the New Mexico OSHA matter. So if you'll recall, the New Mexico OSHA agency filed the Rust production company in violation of New Mexico law for failing to provide a safe workforce free from known hazards, here the gunshot. So as I mentioned in my prior law and crime updates, the Rust Rust Productions did file an appeal, but that appeal was stayed, those proceedings were stayed in January, the same day that the prosecution indicated, at least in the news, that they were going to be filing actual criminal charges. So if you'll remember, that same day on this civil matter, this health and safety matter, Rust Productions the parties filed their intention to try to settle. Well, they settled. So last Friday, and I'm showing it here, last Friday, the parties filed their settlement documentation. You will see that it's a very typical settlement document. The takeaway is that the main violation, this unsafe workplace violation, was lowered from a willful serious violation to just a serious violation. They also lowered the fees from $136,793 to $100,000. There was no changes to the second citation, which, if you recall, was kind of just a minor citation about a fire extinguisher not having the proper citations. That was left unchanged. There was no financial penalty for that. The other aspect of the settlement agreement was there was the typical no admission of liability by either parties, by the defendants. So that's typical for a settlement. And also the settlement agreement indicated that Rust Productions has no intent to return to New Mexico to finish the the filming, which we knew. I believe the latest information is that they are looking to restart up the filming of the movie in Montana, I believe, this spring. So I'll be on the lookout for that. But in any event, they're not going back to New Mexico. If they do go back to New Mexico, the order makes clear that they have to give the state 30 days notice, which seems reasonable. And also this ongoing requirement with respect to Rust, the movie specifically, that time period of that 30-day notice, that will extend for 5 years. Now, for anything else that's not related to Rust, the state just made a self-serving statement saying we can come in and investigate. To me, that's a throwaway. The state can always come in and do an audit investigation if there is a finding that there is a potential for violation of state law. So that wasn't really giving much of anything. So there you go. I think it was good for the production company to settle and move on. The fact that they got the finding to be not willful serious, but serious, is a little bit of a win. They got a little money shaved off. But I think most importantly, they've moved on for that. They have indicated they want to continue producing and finalizing this film. So this really does open that door and takes that stress off. So anyway, what do you think? I'll keep a lookout to see if we find out that they have restarted filming. That'll be really interesting to see who comes on. I know I'm thinking they're probably not going to use the same armor, but apparently Alec Baldwin is allegedly going to finish the movie, so we'll have to see how that goes. But thank you again so much for joining, and I hope to see you in my next content. Thanks so much. Bye.